Welcome to the channel. Today's topic for discussion is cohabitation. Cohabitation, or living together without marriage, is a topic that reflects significant differences between Western cultural practices and Islamic values. In many Western societies, cohabitation has become a widely accepted and legal practice, largely rooted in social shifts toward individual freedom, personal autonomy, and liberal views on relationships. These societies, influenced by secularism, often emphasize personal rights and choices regarding how relationships should be formed and conducted, as long as those choices do not harm others. In such settings, living together without marriage is seen as a matter of personal choice, not a matter of societal or religious obligation. In contrast, Islamic teachings prohibit cohabitation outside of marriage, a stance that is based on both moral and spiritual grounds. Islam promotes marriage as the only legitimate framework for a relationship between a man and a woman. This prohibition on cohabitation outside of marriage is deeply rooted in the teachings of the Quran and the Sunnah, which outline clear boundaries on relationships to preserve morality, modesty, and social cohesion. In Islam, the purpose of relationships goes beyond individual choice. It includes adherence to divine commandments and a commitment to live a life aligned with the will of Allah. This view promotes chastity, the sanctity of family life, and the fulfillment of one's duties within the framework of marriage, which is viewed as a sacred contract and a social responsibility. One primary reason for the prohibition on cohabitation in Islam is to protect the dignity and sanctity of intimate relationships. Islam views sexual relationships as a profound aspect of human interaction that should be approached with respect and responsibility. The marital bond in Islam is designed to create stability, support, and mutual rights between spouses. In cohabitation, there is no binding contract, which often results in ambiguity and instability, a situation that Islam discourages in relationships. This framework is designed to prevent harm, such as emotional distress or financial instability, that may arise from uncommitted relationships. Marriage in Islam involves specific rights and obligations for both parties, creating a foundation that cohabitation does not offer. Another critical aspect of this prohibition is Islam's focus on social and moral integrity. Islam strongly emphasizes the importance of modesty, self-discipline, and responsibility, which are considered essential virtues in a healthy society. Cohabitation without marriage is seen as potentially leading to moral decay and weakening family values. Islamic teachings assert that the family is the cornerstone of a strong society. By restricting relationships to the bounds of marriage, Islam aims to build a stable society in which relationships are based on clear commitments and responsibilities. This not only helps to protect individuals from harm but also supports a cohesive society where relationships are respected and valued. Cohabitation in Western societies, however, is often justified on grounds of personal choice and compatibility. Many argue that living together before marriage allows partners to understand each other better and assess compatibility. This argument is part of a broader cultural belief in the freedom to choose and explore life options, including personal relationships, without societal restrictions. Western legal systems generally uphold the right to cohabitate because they prioritize individual freedoms over moral prescriptions that religions or traditional values might impose. The secular nature of these societies allows individuals to determine their own relationship choices without interference, as long as those choices do not infringe upon the rights of others. Islam, on the other hand, views marriage as a lifelong partnership that is sanctified through a contract that brings with it rights and responsibilities, with each spouse committed to fulfilling these. The absence of marriage in cohabitation often leads to uncertainties and lacks the legal protection that a marriage contract provides. Islam promotes marriage as a means of providing security, love, and responsibility. Through marriage, each partner is legally obligated to protect and support the other, thus providing a strong foundation for raising children and creating a family. This legal and moral structure, unique to the marital bond, does not exist in cohabitation. In Islamic teachings, marriage is not merely a social formality but a means of worship and fulfillment of a moral duty towards society and one's family. Furthermore, Islamic teachings hold that human desires need to be regulated and channeled in constructive ways, and marriage is seen as the proper avenue for fulfilling one's needs for companionship and intimacy. Islam views sexual relationships as sacred and not merely as a matter of personal choice. When approached outside the institution of marriage, intimacy can lead to various complications, such as jealousy, instability, or disputes over rights. Cohabitation, from an Islamic perspective, does not protect the rights of the individuals involved and can lead to moral ambiguity and social discord. By instituting marriage as the only lawful means for intimate relationships, Islam establishes clear rights and duties, thus ensuring fairness, mutual respect, and the protection of both parties. Cohabitation is often perceived in Western societies as a practical step in a relationship, especially among couples who are not ready to commit to marriage. There is a strong emphasis on autonomy and self-discovery, and many view cohabitation as a way to experience life together before making a marriage commitment. Some Western legal systems have also adapted to provide certain rights to cohabiting couples, such as financial entitlements, parental rights, and shared property. This legal adaptation reflects a pragmatic approach to relationships, in which cohabitation is viewed as a common and acceptable choice. Such legal protections for cohabitation, however, are often partial and do not match the comprehensive rights and responsibilities that marriage offers. Islam, in contrast, encourages couples to marry at a young age if they have the means to do so, believing that marriage helps individuals develop virtues such as patience, kindness, and self-restraint. By committing to a life partner within a legal and moral framework, Muslims believe they are following a path that not only fulfills their personal needs but also pleases Allah. In cohabitation, there is no divine guidance or religious incentive, leaving the relationship subject to individual choices, which may lack consistency and stability. Marriage, in Islam, is therefore not merely a legal contract but a spiritual union, a means to earn the pleasure of Allah, and the foundation upon which families and communities can be built. Another dimension of the Islamic prohibition on cohabitation is its effect on children. Islam places a high value on the family as the primary institution for nurturing, educating, and protecting children. The marital relationship provides children with a stable environment where they are cared for by two parents committed to each other and their welfare. In cohabitation, this stability is often uncertain, and children may face legal and emotional challenges if the relationship dissolves. Marriage provides children with the security of having both parents united in a legally and morally bound relationship, which Islam sees as essential for their emotional and social development. Western societies, however, tend to take a more individualistic approach, in which personal happiness and choice are highly valued. The idea that adults should have the freedom to decide on their relationship structure, even if it includes raising children outside of marriage, is often accepted. In these societies, the focus is on providing equal opportunities and support for all family types, rather than imposing a particular moral or religious framework. Children of cohabiting parents are often legally protected through custody and support laws, and these societies tend to normalize various family structures as legitimate expressions of individual choice. In Islam, the prohibition of cohabitation is also related to the concept of modesty and the prevention of actions that might lead to moral corruption. The Quran and Hadith provide guidelines for interaction between men and women, aiming to preserve modesty and prevent relationships that lack moral commitment. Cohabitation is seen as a potential source of temptation and moral risk, as it involves an intimate relationship without the commitment and protection that marriage provides. The boundaries set by Islamic teachings are intended to maintain a morally upright society where individuals respect each other's rights and maintain modesty in their interactions. Western societies, however, often hold that as long as actions do not harm others, individuals have the right to pursue their relationships as they see fit. This view reflects a cultural shift toward personal autonomy and self-expression, in which relationships are seen as private matters. The legal acceptance of cohabitation in Western societies mirrors these values of freedom and personal choice. The state usually does not impose moral standards on personal relationships, as long as those involved are consenting adults. Islam's approach is more collectivist, prioritizing the welfare of society and the moral integrity of its members. The prohibition on cohabitation reflects a belief that moral discipline, family structure, and social harmony are vital for a healthy society. By encouraging marriage and prohibiting cohabitation, Islam seeks to protect the rights of individuals, promote social cohesion, and uphold values that are seen as essential for the community's moral and spiritual health. The difference between the Islamic stance and the Western acceptance of cohabitation ultimately reflects differing views on individual freedom, morality, and the role of religion in personal and social life. In summary, the contrasting views on cohabitation between Western societies and Islamic teachings highlight the role of personal freedom, societal values, and moral obligations in shaping relationship norms. For many in the West, cohabitation is an expression of personal choice and autonomy, reflecting a cultural shift towards secular values that prioritize individual rights. In Islam, however, cohabitation outside of marriage is seen as harmful to the individuals involved and to society as a whole. Islam promotes marriage as a means to protect dignity, uphold morality, and create a stable environment for family life. These differences reflect the broader cultural and philosophical distinctions between Western secularism and Islamic teachings, each offering a unique perspective on the role and purpose of human relationships. Thanks for watching the channel.